guys, Ron here, and a few months ago I invited 4 other artists and gave them a slightly different challenge. I created 2 unevolved Pokemon, showed my guests their design and type, and they had to create evolved forms without knowing their origin, concept, name, stats, or abilities. Then we came together and revealed our evolved forms to each other. Y'all loved the last video, so we're doing it again with Nordist, Harry Gold, and a brand new guest, Pointyhat, a concept artist, illustrator, and D&D YouTuber. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want more of this. Check out the previous episode if you haven't, and peep the description for the links to these amazing artists. Let's begin by showing you the bird that you guys got. Wait, first, what's your thought on the bird? Did you like the bird? Don't tell me what you thought the bird was.
I love the bird.
The bird was the word.
Was it tough to come up with an evolution, or did you see?
It was such
yes.
a bird that was a bird and nothing else.
Good.
I was like, damn. What is it? What can I do?
To the audience, they did not see the full art of this Pokemon. They just saw a sketch of it, basically. So here's the Pokemon, Spontlet.
Oh,
I like that. That's quite nice.
Spawn?
It's got to be Gauntlet, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's what those were.
But it's perfect if you don't... That's what's so cool about this challenge. It's perfect if you didn't notice that, because then you'll take those details and just go in a completely different direction, and it'll still work.
Yeah.
It'll still make sense, because you saw the pre-evolution. Maybe the category is also a hint of the direction. It's called the innocent Pokemon. So maybe the evolved form is not innocent. I don't know.
I think you do know, Ron. I think you're having a son. I think you do.
Oh, they're catching on.
I think you're pulling our leg.
So, Pointyhat, you go first.
I go first. Okay, I'm gonna show my ref board first, and then I'm gonna explain it, because I think that's fun. Interesting, right?
Slay.
Yeah, it is a very slay Pokemon. Old Hollywood, Eva Gardner, and Mae West. A lot of slay Pokemon. A lot of Bombardier.
Step on me Pokemon, yeah.
A lot of that, Salazzle. So I kind of pegged this for a Harpy Eagle, as you can see on the bottom.
Oh, that's a fun angle.
I was convinced because the babies look exactly that same color, and they have a little that super characteristic crest of little feathers coming out. So I was like, it's definitely a Harpy Eagle. Widows, evil stepmoms. Do you see the little rings around the wings that the Pokemon has? That reminded me a lot of the tags that are put on birds that are being tracked for because they're endangered species. So I looked at that and I was like, maybe it's a Pokemon that's being taken care of by people because there's very few left of them. And I was like, what if a Pokemon also noticed that? My concept is there is a Pokemon that noticed that the babies of that species, the first evolution, were being taken care of by humans. So it made its young completely undistinguishable from the young of that species.
Oh,
so this one,
okay.
Kind of like a cuckoo bird, or a liar bird, but not with L-Y, like a liar of lies, leaves its eggs on the nest, kind of like a cuckoo bird, on the nest of Spontlet. Basically, people raise it for them because they think it's an endangered bird, and then they evolve and reveal that they were not that at all. They were this mean lady right here.
Oh!
That's my concept.
Whoa.
Oh my god, that's beautiful. I love
you.
Fakemon like this, where it's like a character.
Yes. I have very weird taste in Pokemon, and a lot of people don't like. A lot of the Pokemon that I like, people don't like. And I was like, oh, we've never had a evil stepmom, a widow, evil older woman kind of character. And I thought that was enough of a pop culture figure. This is basically an evil stepmom lady that just drops off the kids in this endangered Pokemon's nest and lets people take care of them. And in a sort of Dustox / Beautifly situation, you don't know what you're getting, because you might get a dud and get her. Right? Which is a cuckoo bird, and also it's a play on harpy, which is a word used to refer to evil women. It has widow in the name, harpido, and that was my take.
The double entendre.
Those were the best kinds.
Yeah, I was really proud of the talents, because they're so prominent on the original one that I want to do something with them. And I did a high heel, which I thought was stupid enough for me to like it.
One of the hardest but most satisfying things to do in a Pokemon design is to take clothes or human attributes and naturally make them part of the body. And this is definitely very successful at that, in every part.
Thank you. It's supposed to be the feathers of the Harpy Eagle sort of forming that feather hat. This is where I reveal that I'm also evil, because I was like, oh man, I'm bad at drawing Pokemon, and I'm also very new at it, but you know what I'm better at? I like drawing people better. Oh man, as I was coming up with her, I was like, oh, I can see exactly who would use this. And I just didn't know what if I drew it though. And then I did draw it, and that was fun to do. And this is Celestina.
Oh my god!
What the heck?
Alright, so this is the first time now a person made an original character to go with the poke. Oh my god, now this is
Listen.
a precedent.
What the heck?
How about that?
I didn't want to draw another guy, so I drew a person.
And it's perfect. I always love when it's like related to an existing character.
Me too. Yes. My favorite like Pokemon generation was Scarlet and Violet because I'm nothing if not a stereotype of the place I come from.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if it was a Scarlet and Violet character? And this is sort of like, I imagine as like she just left the Elite Four and Poppy took her place.
Oh.
And it's her grandma. So you see some of like the design elements of Poppy in her, like the little like the hair. The visor turns into a sort of like a different hat. There's a veil. I kind of wanted her to be like a widow, which is once again a thing that we haven't seen much in Pokemon, right? So she's kind of like this like big personality, sort of like widow character, and maybe you have like some moments when you actually see her like a little bit grieving. And I think she would make like for a cool like Harpedo will make for a cool ace for her.
What's funny is that last time Nordis was here, he there was a whole meme when he said "step on me," and he's being weirdly silent today.
I am being stepped on all over the place. Bro, I am cooked. How am I supposed to follow this? What does it say in Japanese?
Oh, wow.
Okay, so in Japanese, to me, if you're going to do a character sheet like this, you gotta add some Japanese, and I've been learning Japanese.
Uh-huh.
So the one on the right says liar. So she's like pretending to be this innocent thing. And
my
the other
God.
one says kekekekeke, which is the onomatopoeia for an evil laugh.
Yeah.
So I wanted her to be. Have you ever seen like parrots are very expressive with the eyes? Like they become big and then they like pin and they become super small. I wanted her to be very expressive. So like her eyes can turn into huge and they can turn into like little pinpoints. And I thought that would be fun.
Whatever genre of Pokemon this is perfect. Like this is a perfect
Thank
Pokemon for what you were intending it to look like. And that means it's
Thank you. If you like Bruxish,
exactly.
I'm the guy for you.
It's really thinking past the sale, right? You've gone straight past Game Freak, and you're like, just put this in the anime. So we've got a full model sheet. It turns all the way around. We've got rules. We've got
Damn.
expressions. We are shooting for the moon here.
This is for the next mystery dungeon.
You know what's funny? I'm like, I want to find a flaw, but like I can't.
Thank you, guys. That's very nice. Thank you so much.
I've got one. The front-facing old lady kind of looks like the Pope.
Let us go to who was next? Nordis. Yeah, he complained about being next. I forgot about that.
Yeah, how could you follow up and act like this? But I'll try my best, you know. Cause here's the thing, Ron. When you showed off Spotlit, when we didn't even know the name, all I saw was a baby raptor. Like, you know, hawks, eagles. I didn't know which one exactly, but my first guess was thinking one of those like world record breaking eagles, right? Like the Peregrine Falcon, which is not an eagle, but you know. But then I was thinking like, nah, this is pure flying type. I don't want to make it into a speeding bullet, another steel flying type. We've already had that happen in Pokemon. Instead, I went with the Golden Eagle. And you know when you start like filling out concepts, things start like falling into line. Kind of like Lego bricks.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, what's golden? Like old paper stuff. And then I was thinking, wait, people have been talking about something called the Ornithopter ever since they've seen Dune or Dune 2. I don't know which one.
Oh, the Ornithopters, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was looking it up and I thought, oh snap, Leonardo da Vinci used to have, you know,
Da Vinci?
models for old planes.
Yeah.
So here's Pyloraptor. He's supposed to be that kind of a olden paper kind of an eagle.
Psychic? That's psychic type?
Yeah, psychic. Flying psychic.
And is that like a little helmet?
It's like is that
Yeah,
like a
like
flying
those
cap?
leather helmets.
Yeah.
Like aviator.
I like
Like
that.
the
right?
old aviator.
Aviator, that's the term. Yeah. I was just thinking old-timey this whole time when I was doing this.
Yeah. That is technically already the theme. Like older people.
Oh.
I love it. Look at him. So sweet.
I do like that sort of like packaging paper color palette.
I wanted the wings to really feel like paper, like that scene with the vulture in Spider-Verse 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I did
I
love
actually
that.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I,
love that
really
scene.
wanted to do that, but I just couldn't.
But it
was-
really reads like as you greatly pointed out, Leonardo da Vinci kind of drawing, because it's like very. Like, I see the inspiration of sort of like the beginning of aviation, and I think it's really cool to adapt that into an actual animal. So I'm like, oh, maybe he got the idea for this from this Pokemon, right?
I love when that
it kind of
happens.
looks like that. Yeah.
That's the lore for Vanilla,
Vanilla,
right?
yeah.
Oh, is it? I hate it terribly, so I wouldn't know.
Got good follow through on the, it's still got the little rings on the wings and
Yeah.
that sort of the chevron on its chest.
Yeah, exactly. So with the rings, I was thinking, so there was this old Lego set it was Lego Star Wars with the Ewoks. And they had this own glider they had that was very based off of, I guess, what Leonardo da Vinci was trying to do. Knobs on their wings.
Oh, look at... Oh, God, I forgot about that.
I was
Ewoks
reminded
so
of
much.
shit.
Those.
Yeah, it was crazy that you took a lot from the pre-evolved. I'm looking at the pre-evolved form right now. Like, almost every aspect is in the evolved form.
Well, that's what you gave us to work with, Ron. Got to do something with it.
Our planes nowadays don't do this. We don't have paper wings flapping around like
do not.
orthodonters.
That's kind of like your opinion.
Have you been on a wing of a plane? Have you been close to one?
Well, have you ever been in the same room as one? Really cool dynamic pose, too. I was born stupid, so maybe you explained this, but how is it a psychic type?
I honestly wanted to call it flying grass because of paper, but
That
it's like
should have worked.
Yeah, I was thinking, maybe it's like more of a theoretical kind of a flight. They only thought about flying, and they just developed the wings and took that leap of faith, and the numbers worked out.
So it's
I
just
just met him.
telekinesising itself through the air.
Yeah.
It's thinking really hard about flying.
But I guess it is Harry's turn. Show us what you got.
So I'll be honest, I was pretty stumped because I looked at it and thought I'm pretty sure this is a baby eagle, but Ron did stipulate that he wanted us to try and don't do the most obvious thing, come up with an interesting idea, and I had absolutely no idea where to take that. So I went into a Discord I'm in with a bunch of artists and animators, and under strictest confidence, I sort of fished around for some ideas there, right? And, well, I gotta come up with this sort of evolved form for a baby eagle covered in a bunch of bangles. What do I do with this thing? So Shen Comics, he throws in a sketch, and I'm like, yeah, it's. I'm like,
Wow.
it's cute. I appreciate you going to all the trouble, buddy, but it's not really helping me with my problem. And then Cass Vanderpool jumps in, and
Oh, what? Cass Vanderpool too?
I'm like, well, once again, I laughed out loud when I saw it. It's still not getting me any closer to where I need to be. And so Hunter throws this in. That's Meat Canyon.
What?
So he,
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
and I'm like, well, I
No.
know I did mention, I think, that I wanted something a little more extreme than what Cass and Shen had done, but this might be, pushing a little too far.
How do I capitalize on the fact that we have these three heavy hitters in this video, technically?
And
You found
so
your three
then,
next guests.
so all of these guys start, jumping in. Jeremy puts in his 2 cents.
Oh my god!
Nocturnal montage.
Dude!
Toby Fox.
Okay, now you're lying.
he-
This guy's
he had
lying.
to
He's
have a
just so
go.
good at this.
No.
Of course
He's
he's
just so
lying.
good at this.
And I'm like, Toby, it's still not quite. I kind of like the color
And
palette,
next,
but
Walt Disney came in.
so then you know what Butch Hartman's like.
Oh,
He has
no,
to
Butch
put his
Hartman!
2 cents in.
Not Bush
right. And I'm like,
And then he said some
I don't
off-color
know,
comments.
guys, and Pendleton Ward and Rebecca Sugar,
Oh
they
my
have
God!
to
All came in.
throw in as well. I'm like, ugh. It's cute. I like it, but I'm still not feeling it. Trey Parker, he has a go as well. And I'm like, no, I don't know.
You're fantastic, Harry.
This is not Harry didn't do these.
Seth MacFarlane
No.
has a go. So does
Lane?
Jim Davis.
Oh my god.
Justin Roiland tries,
God.
and I appreciate all the effort, guys, but I'm still not feeling it.
Well, to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand that.
Yeah, I barely understand that one.
Get a photograph comes through from Banksy.
Oh my
He has a go
God!
as well, and I'm
It's
like,
Banksy
nah.
himself.
Banksy
Did you see him?
himself!
Whoa.
So old Don Bluth, he sort
Are
of
you kidding?
Even.
he kicks in as well.
Wait, is Don Bluth alive?
Yeah.
Don Bluth's alive?
So after all that, we're like a dozen drawings deep, and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm kind of pulling my hair out here.
How are none of these artists helpful?
You'd be surprised, right? When you meet actual artists, they're like, they're all crazy. So finally, Toby chimes back in, and he's like, "Hey, I've been doing some work in Japan lately. Like, I've met this guy. He's got this friend. It's like Ken something. I can't remember. And so he sends through a sketch.
Oh my!
And I think that's actually pretty good.
Dude, that's so... the concept of just getting to Ken Sugimori, that's so hilarious, dude. That's so
cool.
smart.
No, this is fantastic.
It looks so sick.
No, it'd be hilarious if this is just not that good. this is not the best one.
Yeah, go back to the Don Bluth one.
Yeah, go back. I want to see the Seth MacFarlane one. That one's funny.
Instead of going in the eagle direction, I've decided it's gotten bigger and it's gotten fluffier, but the rings didn't grow with it. It's all bundled up into a bunch of pom-poms.
I can definitely see how this, in a 3D environment with all the different, like, very distinct volumes of the body, becomes so readable and so fun to see animated, right? Because, like, imagine if it's flying and you see, like, the string of, like, sort of like these cloud shapes flying around. I think it would be really, really sick. Oh, and also, it's massive. It's 6 feet tall.
Oh my god. It's crazy how this one looks the most like the pre-evolved form, but it doesn't. It's the one that looks the least like mine evolution.
Part of the question here was, how do you make a stack of pom-poms look kind of menacing?
You do know how to do Gen 3 designs, and this is definitely Gen 3 colors as well. It's always so every time Harry just gives me a Fakemon, it's always nostalgic, even if I hate the design.
What a killer job. Good job. And also, like, what an incredible set of definitely real friends.
Oh, I have all the realist friends.
Are you even part of any Discord?
I'll leave that for you to deduce.
Alright, Spontlet. Let's bring back the deck sheet again.
It's that bird.
It's a plane. Well, actually, it is funny that one of our birds
Is
so
a
far
plane.
is a plane.
Does this mean yours is a Superman?
It's kind of the opposite, not gonna lie. Spontlet, based on a harpy eagle.
I knew it. Ooh. Yeah.
It is a harpy eaglet. It has rings. It also has huge talons, because that's what harpy eagles are known for, like the biggest talons in definitely all eagles. The concept really is the idea of a gauntlet. Now, if you look at this specific gauntlet, it looks more like the gauntlet. This is not like accurate knight gauntlet, or like falconer gauntlet or whatever. This is more like medieval fantasy gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like a
sort
girl
of
knight.
the necromancer or whoever it was in Lord of the Rings.
It is literally Sauron's gauntlet.
Yeah. Well, that's
I love
it.
that I read that as a girl knight, because to me it's like, oh, that's like the hot, like the evil knight with like boob armor.
Well, yeah, exactly. So thank God I didn't go in the feminine direction, because we already have that. So here is my evolved form, which is slightly more inspired by Dark Lords, I guess, in fantasy. Gaunt Lethal.
Whoa!
How about that?
It would be such a fan favorite. Oh, Dark Flying too!
Oh,
The
yeah.
Dark Souls of Pokemon.
Like, rendering-wise, this is the best Fakemon ever made. Like, I
Oh.
went hard on the rendering. Like, I really tried to make it, like, make sense.
So sick.
Because I usually I hate, like, mechanical design. Or, like, not I hate drawing mechanical things. I never do it. So I never do, like, armor.
I relate to that. I like organic things for whatever reason. They just jibe with my brain better.
Yeah, me too. Originally, it was going to be dark. It was going to be flying steel. But then I'm like, no, but this is definitely based on, like, evil fictional characters. So I have to make it dark. But I can't make it dark steel because it flies. So in the end, its armor is not steel or anything. It's bone. As you see in the wings, those are like rings, almost like rings of power.
Wow, 2 points to Pointyhat. They got the Harpy Eagle and the typing right.
When you have a little innocent-looking bird, you have the inclination to evolve into something like very menacing.
I really like how you translated like the nose cavity of a skull might be too like grim for Pokemon. So I like that it's basically a marking.
Yeah.
But it still reads as the nose cavity of a skull. I think that's really smart. I think that this guy would have like a cool history with Corviknight. Like I don't know if they're rivals or they're like working together or something.
The idea was really that Gaunt Lethal here really is like the enemy of every like bird Pokemon. Oh, another thing is I guess he really is like a combination of Braviary and Mandibuzz. Like he's like really in the middle between those two.
I can see that, yeah.
The next one is not a bird. It is, I can't even say what it is. But I will show you the full art of it with all its stats and everything. It is
Coperro.
Perro.
Coperro.
Perro.
That's two R's.
It's a great try from everyone here.
It's the carved Pokemon. Let us, once again, start with Pointyhat.
Thank you. I will start with me. I did get carving, I did get amber, I did get resin. So initially I was like, oh, it's clearly amber, I'm gonna make a rock grass type. Then Ron's voice reverberated in my head. Simba, remember who you are. Don't do the most obvious thing. And then I went into a coma. So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And I thought, okay, like if this is the baby form, and then it evolves into its final evolution, and that's the thing that will actually make more of the first evolution.
Oh.
You cannot make amber, like you cannot make more amber from amber. You make it from resin. So what if the evolution of this amber Pokemon is resin, liquid resin that can make more amber thousands of years down the line?
Ooh.
So instead of doing a rock grass type, I was like, what if it was a water grass type to symbolize liquid amber, like liquid resin? And it felt like this one was like roughly carved, like a figure made out of wood that was like roughly carved. So it has like rough edges, like the ears are sort of slanted, and you can see a lot of like the pattern. It's like more of like a rough texture of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if that's how it evolved? It became smoother, kind of like I had references for like specifically like African wood statues, and specifically like southeast African wood statues that have like this sort of like extreme polish. And I was like, what happens if you like smooth out a dog? It's a cat now. Like literally that was my thinking. As I was drawing it, I was smoothing out this dog, and I was like, it looks more and more like a cat. I like that idea of it like sort of starting like a rough looking more like canine, and by process of like thousands of years of smoothing the sort of like wood statue,
Cats are just smooth dogs.
The water spirit from Dungeon Meshi.
Oh,
We'll see.
the Undines. What's funny is that originally it was going to turn into a cat-like creature.
Oh,
It didn't.
what if it is? Because I started drawing and I was like, oh, this looks too cool to be just a normal one. So I guess like first time drawing a mythical Pokemon.
Oh my god!
How about that?
This is Restachua.
I love how close it is to the original in terms of colors.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
try to
God.
keep it like it changed so much in shape and stuff that I was like, I'll keep it like, very exactly the same in terms of color.
I love that because usually in this challenge, like you guys go like a little too crazy. This one really is just like it could be the evolution.
In the original, were like some sort of like almost like beads around the collar, maybe for a dog collar. Here, flowed around the neck of Restachua and sort of hardened into little. I guess now we know that it's called Copero, and that was my thinking for how that worked. And yeah, as you can see, is like this sort of like I feel like we're missing like defenders of the forest. It's such a basic fantasy archetype or story archetype, like sort of Princess Mononoke, stuff like that. I think I was like, what is the closest? Celebi? I was like, but it's more like a time traveling thing, right? This guy's just patrolling the forest, sort of like keeping and it has technically a normal Pokemon, but it'll be a mythical because it reproduces like thousands of years. It takes thousands of years for one of its ambers to harden into a Copero.
The rendering on the spreads on the ground at will is beautiful. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
It's
I
very
like.
well done.
I also had a lot of fun like showing how its mood affects the way that the amber moves. Like normally on the top left, you see, I imagine sort of like the Undyne, like it's just like these like pin like needle like lasers that come out of the balls of amber, sort of like pew, and like perfectly. You can tell that it's like a very calm and collected Pokemon. But if it gets really mad, you see on the top right, it sort of like goes wild and like makes these arches. You know, like, I think that'd be sick. And when it's sad, it kind of droops.
Yeah, wow, that's hilarious.
It is definitely like this is what the next movie's about, right? Like that's
Oh yeah, he's a mythical.
The return of Restatua.
this Pokemon does seem a little tasty.
Yeah. How would you rate it in terms of slurpable?
8.3.
It's definitely got some slurpability going on.
Yeah, but knowing that it's resin, it's gonna be very sticky.
Its main nemesis is not going to be like another mythical Pokemon. It's just going to be ants.
Maybe that's its whole play, right? It's ants think it's honey, and then they get trapped into the resin, and it makes beautiful jewelry. So this is the shiny. I just wanted to clearly show the water type.
Oh, nice. That looks refreshing. Goddamn.
Exactly.
What it looks like is the shiny has traded in the honey for Gatorade.
Yeah.
It's blue flavored.
So my thinking on this is, you know how like Professor Arturo or like Professor Arturo and Professor Sara comes from futuro and pasada, future and past in Spanish. These are Professor Tranquilo from tranquilo, which means tranquil, calm, and Professor Plina from disciplina or discipline. And these two are studying Restatua. And they're trying to find it, but they have like widely different ways of going about it. Professor Kilo is super laid back. He loves going out in the field, but he is like chaotic and messy and lazy, and he basically never gets anything done. He knows like the grounds where Restatua is supposed to be perfectly, but he's so disorganized that he doesn't get anything done. Whereas Professor Plina is super organized, perfectly like she knows everything everything there is to know about Restatua and the legends, and she's like mapped out the entire area and blah blah blah. But she's literally never left the lab. She never goes out. She just goes by like theoreticals. And you as a player, either they are divided by game, or you get both because it's a DLC thing or whatever, or maybe you choose one, or you have to help both. You kind of have to help each of them to kind of get over their specific hang-ups so you can find Restatua with them in a sort of like that photo girl from the DLC. Perrin from Scarlet and Violet. So this is like when both of them kind of like get over their specific hang-ups. Kilo kind of like starts to take things more seriously, and Plina sort of like lets go of that control freak kind of nature and goes out and actually gets like down and dirty in the field and doing field research.
This really is the anime movie that centers around the mythical.
Once again, you have just bypassed Game Freak completely and just gone straight to movie theaters with this concept.
Oh, by the way, when I was drawing the old lady, I love drawing old ladies. With this one, it was like, what do people like? And I said, oh, hot people. That's what people like. So I just drew hot people. That was the design impetus behind these two. Is like, how can I make them the hottest?
Maybe we will do one challenge in the future where it's like you have to just make a Pokemon and a character that goes with the Pokemon. Nordist, let's see what you did.
When I first saw Coperto, I too noticed some of the amber leaking out of this wooden dog. This dog that's all about their bark more than their bite, right?
Yeah, he doesn't bite.
My thought process went through is I was thinking about resin and how resin is not really a solid, they're an amorphous solid, so over time it slowly drools down. Why not make a slobbery dog? Here's a basset hound, I called it Besenhund.
Ooh, I just realized, we'll get different species of dogs here probably.
Oh my god, I love dogs.
An old log dog.
What's crazy, this really is, like, first, it's like Trojan horsey.
Oh, it is.
Have you seen those videos, like those short videos where they have like fill out a table but use like resin in the middle?
Yeah,
so
I love those,
Yeah, the big old transparent splotches.
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
So, like, it kind of ended up being like one of those support dog jackets that support dogs have, but in the middle of Besenhund, there's
that's
a big
actually
hole.
really good. That's perfect. That's what you should be doing with this design.
Thus, this guy's a grass ghost type.
Okay, so that's hilarious. Okay, so I was gonna do grass ghost. It's not grass ghost. What mine is, and it was gonna have something similar to like where like it's a little transparent. It makes sense. That's so cool.
He would not make a very good Trojan horse if you could see the people
You can see.
inside the middle.
You just see the frozen ants in the amber.
Oh, but that's so smart because Trojan horses have people in it and amber traps things inside of it.
Yeah.
That's so
Is it
smart.
supposed
Now, how's that for like a double cross trap that's like it's a fake Trojan horse. The Trojan horse is the people trying to use the Trojan horse. Right? You get in the Trojan horse and then it captures the people trying to use the Trojan horse.
And you're not aware that you are a Trojan soldier. It's super specific. I don't know why it's reminding me of this, but do you know in like playgrounds at like McDonald's or stuff like that,
Oh,
you would see like
yeah.
a glass, and it's a colored glass, and you see kids. Like
You see kids. Are you seeing kids right now, Antonio?
Maybe like hands against it. I'm like, I can see. It's such a specific rendering. I like that some of it feels like it's hardened amber, and some of it feels like it's very liquidy.
If this was animated, I kind of want like a visual gag where it is hard. It looks droopy, but like those
everything's
drools,
hard. Okay.
just
I see.
like there's no bones in there. It just follows the head. It is hard.
But then when it faints, it's like droops for like a second.
That'll be a cool touch, yeah.
The fact that it's see-through is also a very ghosty thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like the spirit is haunting the amber still to let them like walk around.
And I'm glad nobody did what I did yet.
Oh, there's still time, Ron.
Well, obviously, Harry, if you make 7 designs, one of them is going to be like mine. You are also the master of different textures in one Pokemon.
The wood looks really nicely rendered.
Like a lot of your designs have multiple textures. Harry, you ready?
I am ready. Fellas, let me give it to you straight. I can read Ron like a book. I can see exactly where he's going with this. It's got beads around its neck, like a necklace. It's got markings around its eyes, like makeup. So I think it's pretty self-evident that this is what Ron wants.
I was literally going to say...
Why does it look so similar? It looks scarily similar.
Am I allowed to... I don't know if I'm allowed... If I could not put a...
Are we
No,
allowed
'cause
to
I was not allowed to put a sumo wrestler in one of the videos. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to put this.
That's sumo-phobic.
It
Might
is.
require some pixelation.
I may
Yeah.
actually have to do that, not gonna lie.
Now, personally, I think Ron's gone too far with this idea. So this is what
How dare you, Ron?
this is what I would have done instead.
Oh, wow.
Oh, she's sick.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Oh,
I like this.
the Anubis.
So obviously we've moved on from resin to full-on amber in parts of this design.
It literally has Lucario's upper body and head and everything.
Lucario do be an Anubis themselves.
I think it slaps. I really, really like how you integrated the purple of the original design.
Ah, the purple.
I like that it has a buddy on the tail. When you posted the one that Ron personally requested you to draw for his own personal enjoyment, it's scary how similar it looks to mine. I was like, oh wow, it looks a lot like mine.
The head shape.
Yeah, and that you went with like a more like this reads more cat-like to me.
Well, it's a jackal, I assume.
Yeah, jackal, basically.
Oh yeah, maybe like Anubis less like Bastet. I see it.
But it does have Bastet, like, it really is very much Bastet.
It's very clever how you use the beats to be the fingers as well.
It's weird, because, like, you always do, like, the Gen 3, 4 style, but this is very much not it's not a Gen 3 design at all. Like,
It's so funny you say that because I was like, oh, now that you say it, I'm seeing like shades of Grumpig here. I see like, you know what I mean? Like I was
yeah,
like, now
color-wise,
Proportions is probably later gens.
Yeah, well, they didn't really push into women-shaped Pokemon until a
Gardevoir?
little later. Like,
They
you had
started with
Gardevoir
Hoenn,
and-
actually.
yeah, but even
Yeah,
Gardevoir is not really woman-shaped.
She's my favorite.
Gardevoir is mostly a dress, right? There's not much of a like.
Are women dresses?
There's not much of a body shape there,
Well,
right?
Jinx is literally the human-shaped Pokemon. So Jinx, it all started with, like, Gen 1, technically.
No, but I see what you mean. It's not a Lopunny or whatever. Yeah.
If we identified as women, maybe we would know the answer, but
It's more when they started to get to all the the Lopunnies and
Lopunnies and all that.
Salazzles.
Sarenas.
I guess even Grumpig doesn't have that many beads, It doesn't have that many pearls, so it's like they wouldn't be able to fit that many in a pixelated generation, So the name is obviously dog, but also the copal, a type of tree. If you guys don't know, but I'm sure the people here do, there exists a thing called an alebrije.
Qué lindo tu nahual.
this is what I was thinking of.
Different places in Mexico have different styles of making an alebrije, but like, for example, I took inspiration from the Oaxacan alebrijes because they use specifically like wood, and the copal tree apparently is endangered because overuse. Like, people are making too many alebrijes, so that's why originally it was going to be a ghost type because it would be like an endangered wood. The evolved form is way more obviously alebrije, which is way more like a chimera, I guess.
Oh wow! Whoa!
He choked.
Yeah, I guess so hard. Beautiful colors.
I purposely picked something that like I could have like an painted version, so you guys, because if it was painted, if the pre-evolved form was already a little bit painted, you'd be like, okay, this is clearly an alebrije,
I wouldn't. I have never heard of this before in my life.
I like it. It's so crazy that we went with the same shiny for the resin
yeah,
parts.
the resin.
Yeah, the resin.
It's also a perfect way to have like a combination of like different animals. Like I didn't want to just have wings for the sake of it having wings. So I'm like, oh, turn the sap into wings. The rock beads aren't really beads. They're just like a collar that eventually can become part of the the wings. At least it looks painted. Originally, again, it was the other reason it was gonna be ghost type is because it was gonna be a Pokemon that can go into dreams, because dreams are very heavily associated with Alebrijes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was just gonna make it a ghost type. It could enter the dreams. Because here's the thing, I made like 5 years ago, not 5 years, in 2019. Oh wow, that is 5 years ago. Holy sh. But in the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic, I did make an Alabria Pokemon, but it was not good.
Your mastery of proportions now is much stronger.
This was originally going to be a mythical, so like it's crazy how Antonio's like saw that as like a mythical.
Hey.
In the end, originally it was going to be a mythical where this is like Shaman, where it has a different form, and the other instead of an evolution.
It's like different forms.
This
Is it
does
different
look like a
form?
mythical.
But since we're doing evolutions, it had to be an evolution and not a form, so I kept it in as like a normal Pokemon. Although it's as strong as like an Arcanine, it's like not an average Pokemon.
You know what it reads to me? Via Piñata. You remember
Yeah,
that game?
exactly.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Xbox era?
Piñata.
It does. Oh, I see that. That's
I
funny.
loved it.
So I'll take the bait. What is Sweet Dreams?
They're made of these.
They sleep for the maximum amount of turns, 3 turns.
That would actually be a really smart idea. Maybe that was what I did, but I don't think I wasn't smart enough.
Might be
back then.
busted, but hey,
that's-
I can't wait to read the
that's
comments.
for VGC to
That's
talk
really
about.
That's a really how is that not even already an ability?
Pair that with a Mungus, and
Yeah, in double battle that would be crazy. Not only are all three of you guys like amazing artists, but all three of you guys have like actually amazing channels that I would actually like recommend.
I had fun.
It was definitely, this was so fun. The balance also, everybody had completely different concepts and designs and different things that they brought to the table. So
Thanks for having me.
thank you for organizing.